So there we go, the second game of the semifinals between HerroOP with Goldline and Kilyuda and Thomas Shelby. Gonna be played on Painted Desert. The gods are going to be, well, quite a lot different. Only Goldline is gonna be sticking with Oranos. Thomas Shelby not enjoying the set. He was set, I think, not all that much. Switching into Zeus and Hades here for Kilyuda. Well, I'm kinda thinking that actually they are unhappy that they are gonna be getting Painted Desert and switching away from ISIS, or rather from ISIS, from Egyptians. As Egyptians are actually fairly good on a map like this. Especially if you get some good back gold mines, which is usually the case in a team game. And plenty of zebras already starting on the left flank. And a few more. No, this is actually fairly interesting as he's having the chickens right next to it. Potentially might have thought about placing the granary a bit closer. I mean, like, basically this could have been managed. Yeah, you could have placed basically granary for the chickens and then sending the villagers all the way to the top and basically shooting at the zebras from the top side, and they will be walking a bit because you need like 3 hits on them. They will be walking towards the granary, and that kind of efficiency, well, could have been saving you 50 wood for the whole granary, which you potentially gonna be placing a bit later for the chickens. That is right now when we are actually talking, I had the discussion before, this is one of the most also obvious things that is not being done in Age of Mythology, and that is basically corralling the animals. Some players do it rarely, you see it here and there. Sometimes players actually realize that could be something to improve their gameplay. But for example in Age of Empires 2 there is a skill that even like 1600 player is going to be doing, pushing deer. Because they are a whole lot more unruly. There is a pretty much more of a reason for that there, but still in Age of Mythology you can be doing the same. Because imagine the difference between having the animal right next to the granary and having it like here. Or even a bit further if you are unlucky. And that basically goes even into the monkeys, but the monkeys are really kind of stupid because they move a whole lot faster. So nobody really does move with the villager to the back, or trying to basically set up the granary in a way that they can be doing that. It's something that definitely should be at least tested, because you could be, of course, having the argument that you are gonna be wasting a bit of walk time in there. But when you are gonna be imagining walk time of one villager pushing this deer, as opposed to basically 5 villagers gathering from it and then going basically to and fro between the animal like this and the granary, well, you can be kind of just wild guessing. There is gonna be already advantages. But well, while those things seem rather small, it actually isn't anything small. It actually isn't, especially in top level gameplay. It can be playing quite a lot of difference, because you are making, usually in top level gameplay, you make tons of those little things. And if you do all of them, then suddenly you're gonna be heading into something pretty big that your opponent doesn't have if he is not doing it himself. But anyway, there's gonna be a relic in the middle. It was a bit of an adventure into AOC gameplay, and just the comparison with AOM, what potentially could be explored by the players to advance the meta somewhere forward, with archers, trolls and centaurs getting cheaper, certainly inviting for Thomas Shelby to be getting even cheaper centaurs. There is a pretty good relic to be had for him in there. Scout unit LOS, that's actually rather good as well, but not for the civilizations we have here, right? That's oracles for Odin. For the Odin, because it increases line of sight for the Ulfsags, so they're gonna be a bit more efficient in the raiding in there, as the goal all the way to the right is kinda, no, well, attackable from the right, but still is at least a bit of a tower, so I expect temple from the right flank could be helpful on that position. As right now the gold for the green player is gonna be fairly safe. He can be just doing a bit of walling in there next to the mountains, maybe even here, and he's gonna be safe at least for the early classical age for him. Let's switch into right about now. Goldline, for example, he's on the other team, as he has already scouted quite well, and his gold is kind of like unfortunate. A bit more into the front, but he's gonna be having easy time of protecting that, being the Atlantean and all, and having the tower close by, and of course right now already the manor. Exactly the main protection for all the villages. Nice gold for both of them, even more extra hand. This is such a cozy spawn at this point, holy damn. Look at that. So close, so hard to be taken down, but there is also the other way for this. Also so easy to take down and take for your opponent, because for example when you imagine when we are having Zeus and Hades here, so double underworld passages, underworld passage into the middle, 2 TCs, ceasefire, thank you very much boys. You're gonna be having 2 TCs in once, for example, for both players. That is certainly quite a solid tactical option, and well, maybe one to be taken into account, but it doesn't seem all that likely that the players should be all that easily allowing the opponents to be taking it, unless it's gonna be way into the mythical age, and of course looking into like the hoplites and the colossi from the Zeus, in which case it's probably gonna be harder for the players to defend properly, unless there's gonna be a vortex from the Oranos. So Godline already coming into the middle as he seems to be sending everything a bit forward. No, so far it doesn't seem that he's gonna be heading into Valorin. All those Oracles probably gonna be playing a bit more standardly and therefore getting the Murmilos and Turmas a few more hits as far as the Valor goes, because of course he needs to be defending against the Zeus. Right now see him exactly in there. 2 villages spraying. So far he doesn't see that. But he could be pretty much guessing what's going to happen on an open map like this when he sees Zeus, so it's not like all that much of a surprise for him. So that's why he's even keeping up and keeping the Valor for the army. So right now the relic is gonna be what? Okay, Hatter's Folly for HerroOP. That's exactly for the Odin. So yeah, Ulfsars are gonna be getting the advantage. And Thomas Shelby is getting the 15% cheaper centaurs. Only then. Now, let's see. And it's gonna be making those dudes fairly simpler and cheaper. You can see only 170 wood and 12 favor. I would be kind of arguing that maybe even the favor is a bit more important here than the wood cost. As the wood cost you can be getting quite easier than even the favor in there. So it's gonna be basically speeding everything up. Let's switch into Thomas Shelby. He's gonna be getting right about now the second dude. He's gonna be getting quite quickly the holy damn, Centaur Polemarch upgrade for himself, as he's right now getting the 20 favor exactly for this. Bit of a scouting by HerroOP, but he seems to be already scouting all across the base, as Little Promethean was having a bit of a talk about the back TC as well, and Kyriudai is preparing for a bit of a 2 TC booming. As for the Greek, there is something definitely not unexpected, but it's also interesting to see that right about now Thomas Shelby is going straight for the strategy with the Centaurs without even going for the second TC. You can see Sylvan Lore already on its way. Sometimes, well, actually sometimes, fairly often, you can be seen also Zeus players going for the second TC and then, only then, going for the Centaurs. But yeah, well, right about now, it's a good idea to be starting the first as soon as possible, but very good shockwave gonna be result. He basically fell dead in there. And right now the Turma and especially the Murmillo is gonna be extra attack. Oh yeah, there we go. That was a right proper disaster. Right proper disaster for Thomas Shelby. So right about now the plan for him is pretty much falling apart already. He's gonna be Sylvan Lore not exactly improving all those Centaurs all that much. Back TC also taken by HerroOP. As he's trying to basically wall his opponent in ever so slightly. Probably gonna be continuing with the wall on the right flank as well, whereas on the left, well, this TC is gonna be quite well guarded by both players, Goldline and HerroOP, but they need to be really keeping an eye on the back TCs much more than anything else, as the undead passages are gonna be certainly quite real at this point. So there we go. This is gonna be Madre Natura. Yeah, this is gonna be everything in Italian from a Kyriudai's actually point of view. That's kind of nice. Gonna be learning a few things here and there, I'm guessing. So right now the back TC is definitely real for Goldline, who is already pushing into the enemy base, who is switching already into the Hippicons. You can see he's having problem with the Centaurs, having only one so far. Well, definitely would be like in the 3. But the game went as it went. Goldline counterplayed him rather nicely. And unfortunately, Thomas Shelby just found himself in a kind of bad placement. But it seems that right now Goldline is going to be doing quite a good job with raiding. And he's really aggressive. He's really aggressive. This is the same thing that he did in the first game against them. Basically just occupying the gold mine and like standing in the middle of it. He did it against Kyriudai, and it worked basically the same well as it's working right about now. You can already see quite a huge army already prepared, and the Centaurs are certainly missing. Second should be already on the way. Yeah, it already is right about now, but the Hippicons are gonna be taking quite sweet seconds. Unfortunately, 15 seconds build time is quite a lot, and the opponent is gonna be already faster advancing, so he's gonna be having just a bit easier game and easier spam altogether. That seems like a dead villager there. You're looking at the dead body. So it's probably gonna be exactly the result of it, as Ulfsars are gonna be the unit of choice for HerroOP, as he's gonna be right now getting the extra bonus for the Hatter's Folly, plus 2 LOS, certainly something not to underestimate, as he's gonna be seeing 18, which is exactly how much? Let's see at that. If you're gonna be seen somewhere, as the Hersers are having only 16. The same before the relic for the Ulfsar, as the Ulfsar right now sees basically this. He sees like, no, almost like 3/4 of the screen through 18 vision, the 2 extra, as opposed to Ragnvald 3 Admire. One hell of a name for him. So right now Gold Line is yet again pushing right into the middle of the enemy base, killing another village on the wood line at the backside. And it's gonna be, of course, becoming a bit more of a problem, as Painted Desert is a map that is basically made all about raiding wood lines and being kind of careful about protecting them. And that's usually a big problem for the Greeks, because Greeks are like the most reliant on wood in overall their gameplay. As Norse, they kind of need wood as well, but their buildings are slightly cheaper. And basically they need wood only in the classical age, only for the throwing axemen. And quite often in a lot of strategies and a lot of gods, for example Loki, and right about now the Odin going for the wolf sides, you can be getting away without getting all that much wood, so they don't really suffer from the same. Yeah, well, poor Minotaur gonna be right now slaughtered and hacked to the death with all the axes, as there's a bit of raiding by the centaurs at the back side, with Gold Line doing quite a decent job catching after them, but unfortunately for him he's way too slow at 5.28 speed against 6.5. And well, checking out. Oh, turn around. That is a bit of a booty for you. Oh, well, probably didn't really feel like it, or maybe he was also engaged right inside his base with all the raiding from Gold Line. So that's of course a result then of Gold Line's quite good gameplay on both sides of the map. And well, right now the centaurs are gonna be coming all the way around, as you can see on the minimap. Maybe trying to even switch back into the back there, as the Kataskopos is still on the ground and he is still looking at the villages there all the time. Right now Kilura is gonna be having quite a solid army of Hippicons, but unfortunately it seems he's not getting into the mediums yet. Yeah, right now he's even missing resources, it seems. He's having plenty of wood and gold in there, but the food is kinda short in supply. That's exactly the reason for that. Is he out of hunt already? Well, he's on the chickens. Yeah, he seems to be out of hunt. He's out of hunt, so therefore he's gonna be having to switch into farming. So that's a bit of a crucial timing in the game. And that's basically another important part of how to play, basically, especially at the top level, that you need to be fully aware of when the players are gonna be switching into, for example, farms, when they are gonna be switching the gold mine. All those little things, of course, most of the players realize them. But a bit more development in there maybe could be done, especially as far as the farming goes, because you often see players fully concentrating on only hunt and gold, and the wood seems to be at least slightly like below the level. Even though basically when the time comes, when you have to be switching into farms, for certain civilizations, like especially Greeks, I kinda do feel there is quite a bit of an opening how to be a bit more dangerous than it usually goes. Not there, well. It's usually a bit harder to be raiding wood lines as opposed to this map. On other maps it's usually a bit safer. Unfortunately, Thomas Shelby, yeah, well, kind of forgot about the food wheelies in here. Oh, that's a right proper massacre. That's a right proper massacre of about like 4 or 5. That definitely hurts him quite a bit. Now the army is gonna be coming back there. And Kirudai, is he already right now having the mediums or not? No. When you are having this huge army, basically, you already want to be having mediums, absolutely certainly. Well, right now he's house, so I'm hoping that he's gonna be getting it sooner rather than later. So right now I'm missing a bit of food in that, because I definitely like what is being done by other players, as we have, for example, seen in the other matches. When you are gonna be getting the medium Hippicons at about when you are having 3 to 5, then you should be already getting into the medium, because the advantage is really big, and it's not all that costly. It's 200 food, 100 gold, which is basically cost of... On the gold, it's cost of 1 Hippicon. On the food, it's a bit more draining. But the advantage that you get, if you don't lose the Hippicons then, like, needlessly and without any kind of, like, thought, is really huge. And medium Hippicons, there's not any kind of, like, mistake in the fact that they are able, medium Hippicons, to basically keep fighting with heroic age units from the Migdol for the Egyptian until they get upgraded. There's no mistake that they are really such a strong unit. But anyway, there we go. Usta's gonna be having a bit different idea about the longevity of all of those dudes, as the back TC has been also captured by Thomas Shelby, as he's trying to push his opponent back into a bit of a safer situation for him, as he does have plenty of centaurs ready at this point. Hippicons are not there, but at this point I'm fairly certain that actually Kilura is heading into the heroic age, and we should be looking at some kind of armor fairly quickly. Just now hearing it there in the darkness, somewhere at the bottom. Let's switch into Thomas. He's apparently not coming into the medium cavalry yet either. He's also heavily housed. Those ravens really cannot wait for the raiding on the gold, apparently. Oh, this is heading into a big battle right now. Okay. It's gonna be interesting right now, moment. Unfortunately, it's only centaurs, and the hippicons are somewhere backwards. So yeah, the timing is not exactly the greatest. And looking at the huge army of the teal player, it's probably gonna be resulting into nothing all that good. That's why Kilura is even running. Everybody being at 2 TCs, and it seems there's gonna be a bit of a sneak into the front. It almost seems that maybe HerroOP might be having a bit of a side thought of the front TC. But I wouldn't be surprised by the heroic age for him all that much either. Yes, Carrion's on the way. As at about 12.5 minutes, and yep, TC is also being right now signaled. That's gonna be the next course of action for him. Maybe he could have slightly waited until those hippicons are going to be gone, so that he doesn't give up the idea. But he probably didn't mind all that much, as he is already knowing that the army is gonna be coming back. And this is not really all that much of an army though. Look at all of those horses, they are pretty much dead. They are pretty much most of them dead. This is gonna be right proper disaster right now for Kilura. He's gonna be losing way too many, especially if HerroOP is gonna be microing on those that are a bit more dead. But overall, the statistics should be working anyway. Quite a nice last blow of the horn for the INR. And yeah, well, the hippicons are falling, all of them right now, even at least a few. Toxota making an appearance, but the Ulfsaks are certainly winning. Certainly winning and completely right now owning the army, and especially with the reinforcements going forward in the Frost Giant. Nonetheless, this is well played, and the front TC is right now finished for Goldline, and he's gonna be getting, of course, much more of a population limit than Thomas Shelby, and Thomas Shelby's front TC seems to be kinda untenable, at least for the time being for him. As all 3 god powers are still available for Kilura. He hasn't used a single one yet, but he's probably hoping that he can be right now having the TC, which he does have. And this military academy is unfortunate. It's gonna be blocking a sentinel, because the sentinel spawn like there. No, probably like there, next to it, there, and in the middle of like the military academy. That's also kind of interesting thing. And to be completely honest, I would be liking if sentinels could be rotatable. If you can basically just by the mouse wheel rotate them around how you want to place them, because it's kind of stupid that you get only 3 or only 2 if you are having buildings around it, if you can be avoiding it. So at least that, if it will be possible, but unfortunately it's hard-coded, you cannot really do anything like this on the wobbly balance patches or whatever like that. So right now the hill fort is probably gonna be a bit challenging, looking at all the Hades shades coming forward into the battlefield to at least help partially. But the heavy Ulfsaks is quite an early upgrade, with all copper upgrades already coming in, as his opponent Kilura is not having anything else. And then, well, he doesn't have even medium hippicons so far, so he's really right now struggling, apparently even running out of gold. With restoration that could be helping, but it... No, well, this is basically battle for the hill fort. This is not battle for the TC. It's battle for the hill fort. Unfortunately, though, Goldline is gonna be joining with all the fun, as Green is behind him yet again, not upgraded yet. And bolt into the birdie is actually not a bad idea, as the birdie can be certainly quite annoying. And it seems that the Migdol, or the hill fort, is gonna be at least slightly delayed, but the army is already coming forward. HerroOP paying attention in there, that he is having at least a few units, but so is also paying attention Kiludai. And right now it is done, and it's gonna be even more shooting, so even more of a difficult situation right now to be fighting under for Kiludai, as on the left battlefield, Green is getting definitely right now owned by all the teal army. Of course, the missing population limit and the missing upgrades is definitely noticeable. Even though it's not like Goldline is having too many upgrades, he's apparently at mediums only and doesn't have anything extra. Already the only player who is so far having some kind of upgrades reasonably well is HerroOP, with already heavy and the baseline already been filled, as we have seen a bit before. As on the left side, a few more units are coming forward, and they're gonna be trying to destroy at least those military buildings, which is already gonna be giving him a bit of a claim on the front town center of the game player. So he's right now trying to do what he can. Ah, it actually spawned right on the edge. You can see it's already basically out of position. So he got lucky that there was enough of place and enough of free will to basically move it a bit more right. You can see they are basically not aligning as opposed to these ones. So it was well in place, but still kind of risky build up. But it worked out, so everything is fine. As right now Red is gonna be having a bit of a chance right now how to take down this hill fort. Problem is that he doesn't have anything that does significant damage to buildings. Yeah, he basically needs at least the fortress, but he probably doesn't have resources for that all that much. Almost does. Right now he does. He's right now exactly running into 300 gold, so he could be producing it right into the middle. But right now Goldline is already getting the 4 TC, stealing from the opponent, and... I mean, like, this is a slightly strange battle right now from Kiludai. I'm not entirely certain what he's trying to achieve. If he's trying to win against the army, then why fight between hill fort and fortified TC? And if he's trying to destroy the hill fort, then, well, nobody's attacking it all that much. So it seems slightly strange. Not entirely certain what was the goal for that. Maybe he actually felt that he's strong enough and he probably did not check out that his opponent is already having the upgrades in there and he's not having anything all that much. So if he knew that, I'm thinking he might not be even engaging in it, as Jarls are gonna be making an appearance into the battle. But we need to be switching to the left side, but Thomas Shelby is gonna be in a... Whoa, look at those resources though. 1200 and 2000 gold in there, and he's not even advancing into Heroic Age. Ah, somebody forgot. Stable, Armory, yep, unfortunately Thomas Shelby forgot. Thomas Shelby unfortunately forgot in there about the advance. He was just consumed by the battle on the right, and then trying to fight against Gold Lion. So he probably could have been advancing like at least half a minute, maybe even a minute earlier already. Who kinda knows, as right now the battle with the TC is gonna be resulting into probably ceasefire. It doesn't seem all that much of a reason why to wait for anything else, as the flaming weapons are not going to be available, as Odin it doesn't have those. He is going through Skadi, and this is just going to be probably waiting for something, but at the same time this is a bit of an advantage for Gold Lion. Exactly as we have seen in the Anatolia game before, that he waited for Matreus to be basically finishing almost with the TC and only then casting the Ancestors, because right now they are not only not producing resources, the villagers, they are also spending them on the TC. So the ceasefire, I mean, like, he's not gonna be having to cast it now. So if he was hoping for that he's gonna be receiving the assistance, which seems to be the case, then it is a good play. But otherwise, in another situation, if he will be basically left on his own, then it will be a better idea to be casting the ceasefire right at the start and basically give himself a bit more economy, a bit more chance on the Apollo. But since we are in a team game and they apparently communicated, quite obviously, because Kyliudai just came in to help with like the whole army, then it was worthwhile to be doing what he did. So that was nicely done. Medium destroys so far for Gold Lion and nothing else at all for him. He's gonna be switching into his point of view. Really look at those resources though for him. Look at that. And he doesn't have all that much of an army. So his economy is going rather nicely, but he's having problem with producing military. He's not even having auto-queue on the horses. He's having auto-queue on the hoplite. So he's preparing for mythic jump. That's more obvious than anything else at this point. Ah yeah, Tartaringet of course is gonna be coming forward, unfortunately for him. And that's gonna be putting quite a solid problem up his back there. As military economy number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and whatever like that is coming forward, as there's quite a solid, not exactly too much of a raid-in, but rather there is a bit of a disruption as far as the back build goes. Did he actually cast that? Where did he cast the Undermine? Is something losing hit points somewhere? I think he cast it here. I think I saw it cast here. Yeah, definitely has to be. Yeah, it's losing hit points right now. I hear the sounds. So yeah, he's gonna be right now the TC losing hit points, which is kind of interesting idea, as it basically dealt about 900 damage, as it could be easing up on all of those spawns. And they are unfortunately right now frozen, so they are not gonna be able to even jump anywhere and even spawn anew. So that's actually kind of funny situation that you don't see all that often, frozen Tartarian Gate in there. So apparently hell has frozen over. At least for the moment. It's not gonna be really lasting for too long, as right now the push for Gold Lion is gonna be becoming way more dangerous. Not like he's gonna be having too many upgrades, but at least he has improved into the baseline. And Hephaestus is coming forward for Thomas Shelby, but it's gonna be taking so long time, as on the right flank the battle is not going all that well for Kyliudai, even though he's having at least heavy Toxotai. But no extra upgrades after that, because he's probably waiting for Hephaestus himself. And he's having a really pretty big problem getting even there. So I'm thinking that is the attack upgrade could be improved for him to help his archers be even more dangerous, as they destroy right now the hill fort as if nothing happened. And there we go, he's gonna be continued with Nimble Winter, even more of a problem, as this is fairly interesting. You can see they're actually fighting the wolves, the spawns. Yeah, well, so this is an interaction that you don't exactly want all that much. Spawns of your teammates. Start and engage fighting basically all the wolves. Yeah, well, that happens. So be careful about that if you're gonna be planning it next time. But otherwise, the wolfies are all across the place, destroying even quite a few donkeys all across the board here. And we are gonna be checking somewhere on the left side, where a few more wolfies are still continuing with, unfortunately, the repairing villages, and we're gonna be waiting for the for the ceasefire fairly quickly, because right about now there's nothing to be waiting for, as Red Army is not coming to help him, and he needs to be keeping the TC alive for at least the moment. But he has lost basically like all these villages already. There were like 10 villages repairing this a bit earlier. Right now there are like 2. Yeah, literally like 2. As well, at least the Mythical Age is in, but is he gonna be able to do something with that? No. Let's switch. Kiryuda is gonna be right now heading into Mythical Age. Hephaestus. That's kind of what I was waiting for. Hephaestus is gonna be in as well. But he doesn't have all that many resources, especially the food is completely skewed because he's having all the food economy right next to his home base, which is right now under attack. So it's like the worst case scenario for him. There are a few farms at the back, but he has lost all of them anyway. And yeah, well, unfortunately, he wasn't able to rebuild fast enough. And right now, he doesn't need all that much of a gold. He needs much more the food for all the hoplites. Whereas on the right flank, there is going to be continued back build by HerroOP, trying to make sure that they have some kind of secondary chance if the frontal assault is not going to be working that well. And you can see just spamming plenty of military buildings all across the board. Kiryuda, of course, gonna be waiting for the Forge of Olympus for all the upgrades, spamming even more military buildings, but problem is that Thomas Shelby is on the verge of defeat pretty much at this point, and even the Mythical Age is most probably not gonna be doing him all that much of a service. He doesn't have Odysseus, curiously enough, because I don't see him. He's having only right now Hercules, or Heracles rather. It's actually a bit of a switch. Heracles is the Greek pronunciation, or the Greek name of the hero, and Hercules is the anglicized one. So it should be Heracles, exactly as it is right about now here at the bottom, as the proper name for him. Thunderbolt Passage is already coming. That's gonna be the way how Kiryuda is gonna be helping his teammate. As right about now, Blue doesn't have all that much of a push. He's gonna be right now trying to destroy plenty military buildings on the left side. You can see he's having double bronze and iron already. He's well prepared. And champion infantry on top of everything. Right now, the army of Kiryuda is gonna be definitely helpful. It might be even stopping the attack and helping his teammate quite significantly, but Bellerophon, no, into the situation, I don't think he's gonna be all that helpful. He's gonna be dying fairly quickly, and he costs tons of gold. Like literally a ton of gold. So as long as his opponent is not gonna be producing all that many mythical units, it could be probably better spent, or maybe even a Colossus. With the favor in there. But right now the palace is being built. That's a pretty clever idea by Goldline, as he can be of course affording it. The aggressive building of the palaces is basically putting even more pressure on the opponent. As the Forge of Olympus should be so far kicking in. You can see already copper weapons and copper shields are up. But Artemis is right now for Kiryuda. So no Forge of Olympus. Alright, so he in the end switched from Hephaestus. He was clicking into that, but basically changed his mind, thinking that he's gonna be needing the earthquake, which might be interesting here. No, not really. There are way too many buildings. It would be probably killing a few longhouses. TC standing for sure. Maybe Hillfort falls. As right now the Rams are also pushing forward, but I'm kinda liking the idea for maybe freeing this TC and allowing Thomas Shelby to be finally taken third, but it doesn't seem to be right now really having enough time for that, as the Baldrams, as normal Rams with the hell, with all the upgrades that they could be getting, are right now knocking down the town center, which doesn't have all that many upgrades. For example, it doesn't have even masons. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, as Goldline is also going for a bit of a sneaky build-up all the way through back, and yeah, even though there are plenty of units that are basically dying one by one, because the villages are constantly apparently fighting against them, it's not gonna be lasting too long before all the villages are gonna be dead, as Bellerophon, the hero that he is, gonna be jumping down on the enemy. Apparently he missed with the attack, it seems like, didn't do any kind of significant damage. He's gonna be right now spearing all those units to death, but you can see how quickly he's actually dying, because the 20% melee armor is not really anything all that huge, as the TC in the middle is yet again under assault, quite a solid one. You can see heavy destroyers with already full iron for Goldline, so he went really promptly with that, as Earthquake is gonna be cast on the right side. So yeah, as we said, way too many buildings here. Earthquake needs to be finding basically a sweet spot between some buildings and way too many, because when you are having way too many, then plenty of them are gonna be receiving some like half the damage. You can see exactly here. And in the end, it's not gonna be destroying anything. So this is like the worst case scenario earthquake that you can be potentially having, unfortunately. Yeah, well, sometimes happens. It was juicy and kinda tempting. But there is limited damage that they are going to be doing, the earthquake is going to be doing at this point, as the Chimera at the back was going for a bit of raiding on the villages, potentially even waiting for some underworld passage still from Thomas Shelby, and unfortunately did not exactly come into that, and therefore, well, HerroOP and Goldline are gonna be winning the semifinals 2-0 and advancing into the finals of today's tournament. So there we are. With the Underworld Passage, well, definitely would have, of course, liked to be using it somewhere else, but it was obvious at that point that he needs to be using defensively. At least he actually positioned it rather nicely. This is a nice position of the Underworld Passage, as it's beyond the TC, like beyond military buildings and kind of like off the fight, even the tower at the bottom, so it's gonna be a bit harder to take down. Here it's also nicely positioned beyond TC, beyond sentinels, beyond fortress. So this is exactly how it should be cast. And quite often you actually see players casting it kind of slightly willy-nilly and placing it, like, for example, even in front of the TCs and whatnot, which, I mean, like, it's not necessary to be just basically rushing the underworld passage. It's something that should be helping you for a bit longer. And if you are basically gonna be giving it to your opponent to attack, it's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a shame at that moment, as at the back, well, HerroOP, even after he was having a few buildings here destroyed at the backside, he was able to develop quite nicely through the through all the towers and the hill fort and a few ballistae, of course, in range of the fortress and of the settlement as well. As apparently Kiludai was losing, or are they using a few heavy hoplites, which are kind of solid unit all around. And unfortunately, the bonus against the buildings is missing. Yet again, for about the 100th time, I keep repeating that hoplites are not as great for the other Greeks as they are for Zeus, because the bonus against buildings is really something special for them. But they are certainly quite a solid backbone, and if you are not entirely certain what you want to be making, you're probably not gonna be making any kind of mistake with them. In the late game, they can be having quite high armor and quite decent hit points, so they are, well, it's not fully upgraded really, but they can be getting really high, especially on the melee armor, and they can be standing and fighting for quite a long time. Yeah, well, the middle push seems to be at least gonna slow down, but probably not stop for altogether. But left is already done. Okay, let's check into the post game. Well, thank you very much, Hellraiser, for the host. Unfortunately, we're gonna be quite about like ending. So I'm gonna be hosting anyway. Somebody who's gonna be streaming some Age of Mythology more. So if somebody who is coming from Hellraiser stream, you're gonna be interested in more Age of Mythology, that's gonna be still coming for you. If there are some live streams, which I hope there are. And HerroOP, well, of course, the highest score here, as the Norse economy is quite solid and can be even overcoming with a longer game, the Atlantean one. Atlantean is winning in the early game, but late game can be kind of hard for them if they don't get themselves enough advantage up until then. There is actually another thing with the Atlanteans that I would be definitely liking players to be trying as for the late game Atlantean economy. And that is that, in effect, you can be actually having 40 villages at the end. The 35. 35, 25 is like the limit, right? Or something like that. And you can be having 10 more, because hero citizens are basically continued after the limit. Problem for the hero citizens, obviously, is the population limit, because they are taking 4 population limit. So what I would be interested in, if some Atlanteans experts trying to figure out what is the best ratio of having the full line of normal heroes or normal citizens, and then the few hero citizens on top of that, because I'm expecting it's not gonna be all 10 of them, maybe like 2, 3, 4 hero citizens on top of that, plus the 25 is gonna be like the golden point and the sweet spot for the Atlantean economy in the late game. Maybe it could be improving it ever so slightly, who knows, but thinking that it's something that could be maybe explored. Maybe it could. A good military count for Kill You Die, the biggest of all the players. Also biggest units killed for him. But, well, that was quite a proper battle between him and HerroOP. That would have been actually quite an interesting one. It would be winning between HerroOP and Kill You Die, because that seemed to be fairly close. And at places maybe even slight advantage for Kill You Die, until Gauntline came and basically saved the day. Or saved the day. Help his teammate. Heroic AG is pretty much all at 30 minutes. You can see 3 players a few seconds from each other. So about 30 minutes is exactly the sweet spot when you want to be advancing into Heroic Age. So if you're not advancing about like 30 minutes, then you need to be starting to get worried. If you don't have resources, that something is not really going all that well for you. As for the Mythical Ages, well, they usually are about like 17 minutes, 16 to 18 minutes are usually done. Right now in this game it was a bit later, as the battles were a bit more engaging and a bit more intense. Usually when the battles in the early ages are more intense than you see in the later advances, for obvious reasons. So yeah, it changes slightly. What is going to be expected there? Yeah, it was unfortunate start for Thomas Shelby in that. That basically when that happens to the Zeus, who's trying to go for Centaur Radiant, then you are really losing quite a lot of power there. Quite a lot of power, and it's really on par with trying to think of maybe switching into something different. But already when you are committed to the Centaur and then switching to something completely different, you're gonna be inevitably behind. You just need to be reaching into your well of experience, what potentially is gonna be a lesser problem for you. Who knows? Who knows if it would have been potentially better to quickly switch into just straight Hippicons or something like that. Who really knows? Maybe player. Maybe Mista would be knowing as Zeus. As Mista is actually really good. I remember some games of him where something wasn't going all that well, so he had to switch onto different strategy on the go. But yeah, well, he does have quite a good knowledge of the game on a different level than most of the other players. And he's really kind of good on playing all kinds of weird strategies and basically thinking about the game on the fly. What needs to happen and what not like that. That is what makes him such a hard opponent for other players, because he can be really unpredictable with what he's gonna be doing and how he's gonna be doing it. Okay, the civilians here. Yeah, Thomas Shelby unfortunately started slacking really quickly as he got really raided kinda badly. And Goldline did quite a good job with him. He basically camped right inside his gold mine fairly promptly. And even though he was able to kinda even touch with the players, but this is like a difference of about 5 citizens, nothing too huge. But it is still well enough, especially considering the fact that Goldline wasn't losing anything at all, and therefore he was just growing and not really falling. And yet again, Atlantean on take of all the units, and is always so quick. And the other players, they weren't really all that far behind. You can see Kirudai taking a bit longer time there, as he was going for the second TC. That's the reason why he was taken this time, as opposed to HerroOP on getting the uptake. But he was still able to make up for it and have quite a nice game against HerroOP, especially when you look at all of those military units differences in there. You can see that HerroOP was quite low, as opposed to Kirudai. But it is a team game, it is not a 1v1. Okay, GG.